want to talk about the difference between training forwards and performance backwards when making decisions around developing athletes. So when we're looking at training forwards, what we mean is, and we see this quite typically online, debates around what the best exercise is. Is it a front squat or is it a back squat? Is it a split squat or is it a trap bar deadlift? Is it a trap bar deadlift or a back squat? And out of context, it doesn't matter because there's no context behind the decision. And it doesn't allow us to understand what impact we're trying to make to an athlete's performance. It's just a general improvement we're seeking to achieve, which may be fine. For a developing athlete, that may be perfectly fine because we're just trying to develop general qualities. However, if we really want to start improving an athlete's performance, we need to start from a position of performance backwards, which is where we look at their performance and decide from the specifics of their sport, what is it that they can't do that's currently limiting their ability to perform. So if it's on the pitch, it could be, are they getting beaten to the ball quite frequently? Well, in which case, what assessments do we need to do that enable us to determine specifically what adaptation they need to improve in order to get closer towards that performance target? So if they are getting beaten to the ball quite frequently, is it their speed? Is it their decision making? Is it something tactical? Is it something technical? If it is something physical, specifically, what is it in the physical characteristics that's limited? Once we've identified that, we can take the next step backwards, which is to determine which adaptation is needed. And that could be improving tendon stiffness. It could be improving maximal force expression, amongst many other things. And then once we've identified the adaptation we're trying to achieve, we can then decide what's the most effective way of achieving that adaptation, which is where we start to decide which exercise is the most effective means of delivering that adaptation into the body. And this is where there are a multitude of factors that might influence that decision, which could be around the athlete's mobility, their training history, logistical considerations like what equipment have you got available to you, the time, the frequency of training. All of those things go into that decision making until eventually you come to the logical endpoint, which is that a certain exercise delivered in a certain way is going to deliver an adaptation in a specific manner that we hope is going to bridge the gap physically between where they currently are and their performance on the pitch. And so that's the difference between working backwards from performance versus working forwards from the general standpoint of training.